Everyone, and welcome to the Velocity Pitch Competition semi-finals for Winter 2024. My name is Tina Wilton. I'm the Entrepreneurship Experience Manager here at Velocity, and I will be your MC for tonight. We're so glad to have you here with us to see some exciting student teams try for their chance at $5,000. But before we begin, the University of Waterloo acknowledges that much of our work takes place on the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. Our main campus is situated on the Haldeman Tract, the land granted to the Six Nations that includes 6 miles on each side of the Grand River. Our active work toward reconciliation takes place across our campuses through research, learning, teaching, and community building, and is coordinated within the Office of Indigenous Relations. A few housekeeping notes before we get underway. So the stairs in this room, they do make a lot of noise. So out of respect for the teams pitching, please try to avoid climbing up and down the stairs when someone is presenting. If you do need to use the washroom or a water fountain, they are at the far end of the main atrium on the left-hand side, just past the stairs. This term, we received over 100 applications to the competition. These covered a wide range of business categories across every faculty. We have narrowed it down to 26 teams who will be pitching tonight and tomorrow. And at the end of this round, 8 teams will be informed that they are moving on to the finals, which are happening on Thursday, April 4th. There, they will pitch again to a new panel of judges, and 4 of them will be awarded $5,000 in grant funding to grow their business. Tonight, we will hear from the first 13 semi-finalist teams. Each one will have 3 minutes to pitch, followed by a 3-minute Q&A period with the judges. All right, so now let's welcome our judges. Alroy Almeida is the Director of Deep Tech at Velocity. Alroy is a mechatronics engineering alumnus from the University of Waterloo, where he received multiple awards for his dedication to organizing and offering programming for student services and student experiences. Alroy went on to co-found Volterra, a company which revolutionized the manufacturing process for circuit boards. Through his advisory work with companies at Velocity, Alroy hopes to achieve his goal of making Canada the global leader in deep tech. Please welcome Alroy. Parisa Sadat Musavi is Velocity's product development and biosafety manager. She is also an alumna from the University of Waterloo, earning both a master's and PhD in chemical engineering nanotechnology. Parisa previously worked as a project coordinator at the Center for Bioengineering and Biotechnology and led research projects in collaboration with biomedical device startups as part of her postdoc. At Velocity, she provides founders with mentorship and support in their product development journeys, in addition to her responsibility overseeing multidisciplinary lab spaces and resources. Please welcome Parisa. Rachel Bartholomew is a 2-time entrepreneur who has been working in various roles in the entrepreneurship ecosystem for over 15 years. A graduate of the University of Waterloo's MBET program, Rachel is currently working on her second company, High Ivy Health, created after her recent fight with cervical cancer. High Ivy Health is creating a pelvic rehabilitation device for the 1 in 3 women worldwide who will experience a pelvic health complication in their lifetime. Rachel is also the founder of Femtech Canada and professor at Toronto Metropolitan University in Biotech Innovation. I said that wrong. My apologies. Thank you to all of our judges, but let's give Rachel a round of applause first. Thank you to our judges for lending your time and expertise this evening. Here are the teams who will be pitching tonight: Automax AI, Pharmacal Grow, Foresight Oncologics, Grease Tech, Make My, Monterre, NewGen Health, and One By. We'll then take a short break and hear from Orthoflexion, Outseek, Sheepit, The Journey, and Vanguard. Are you ready to get started? Automax AI is the first AI co-pilot assistant for real estate appraisers that helps them do appraisals faster with more transparency and consistency. The founder of Automax AI is Hamza Ahmed, an undergraduate student in the mechanical engineering program. Please welcome Hamza.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Hamza, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about Automax AI. To start, let me introduce you all to my friend Joe, the real estate appraiser. Now, Joe's been assigned this 3-bedroom house in the middle of downtown Toronto, and his job is to provide a valuation for it. To do this, Joe can look at other similar properties that have been recently sold within the area. As it happens to be, there was an almost identical property sold for $2.5 million just last week, with the only difference being that it's 4 bedrooms instead of 3. Now, Joe has to decide how much is 1 bedroom worth in Toronto. Is it $10,000 less? $20,000? $100,000? The truth is, most commonly, appraisers just pull this value out of their head, which can lead to many different problems, such as appraisers getting accused for appraisal bias and being sent to court hearings when they have no data to back their decisions. Alternatively, Joe could try and find this data, but he has to search through millions of different past listings and use archaic software that was built in the 90s in order to do this, leading to him probably getting fired for failing to complete the other 3 appraisals that he had due in the same week. All this together makes for an appraisal process that is extremely ambiguous, inconsistent, and takes way longer than it should. That's why we built Appraisal Copilot, the first AI assistant for real estate appraisals, which uses historical data and several listings in order to provide these appraisers with pinpoint accurate price adjustments for their properties. In addition, it also automates the entire process of doing an appraisal, everything after the initial inspection. Our early adopters have already reported a 50% decrease in turnover time per appraisal and are very confident that their appraisal decisions are now being backed by hard data. When validating our product, we talked to 30 different real estate appraisers from who we found out that being a product that's easy to use, has data-backed insights, and automates repetitive tasks were their main priorities. So we built Automax to be most proficient in all 3 of these. In terms of business models, we have 2 different types that we use based off the needs of our client. The first is a monthly subscription at $820 per month. This is suitable for real estate residential appraisals, whereas we also provide custom work, which is higher ticket for commercial and agricultural appraisers. In terms of market size, we have more than 95,000 appraisers within North America alone, which puts us at well over $1 billion. And for traction, we've already received some funding at the start of this year by participating in the e-launch pitch competition, as well as in the Velocity Cornerstone program, where we validate our idea by talking to a bunch of different appraisers. In March, we've also launched our first paid pilot with 16 different appraisers from across 5 different appraisal firms. And in the future, we look to expand our team, hiring co-op students and launching a second version of our Appraisal Copilot. Automax is a one-man show with myself as the sole founder. My family's been in the appraisal business for around 50 years now, which gives me access to loads of advisors in the space and many unique insights. Finally, we'd like to attribute a majority of the $5,000 towards product development and building a better user interface, as well as towards marketing and expanding our reach to meet new customers. Thank you all for listening. Together, let's revolutionize the appraisal space with Automax.
Remind me, how many paid pilots did you say you have?
We've done a paid pilot currently with 16 appraisers.
And how did you get in touch with those 16 appraisers? You mentioned a lot of people in your family are in this business. Is it mainly family, or did you reach out to people you didn't know?
The first one was family, and then the other 15 were all reaching out. So
Okay.
I've been doing marketing for the past 2 months. Most of it was actually people reaching out to me. I just made a post on LinkedIn, which showed some of the features. And then from that post, I had 5 appraisers reach out to me. And then those appraisers told other appraisers that they liked what they were seeing. So it was all pretty much through that.
You mentioned the price earlier, but these paid pilots, are they full price or?
Full price.
What was the price?
$820 a month.
800? Okay. Yeah, that's it for now.
Problem. How are they currently doing it now? You weren't really clear about how they're currently doing these appraisals, and you showed that there's issues with the appraisal process that's getting them in trouble. What is the significance of that? What is the ownership that they have?
Yeah, so the
that.
biggest problem is just the time that's taking them. So it takes 2 to 3 weeks if they want to actually find that data. And how they're doing it is pretty much just manually searching through these databases. So I can give you a quick example. Pair data analysis is a method that they use to be able to determine how much is a bedroom worth, right? They're going to look at pairs of different properties within, let's say, downtown Toronto and say, okay, the difference between these properties is only 1 bedroom. How much was the price difference? Here it was 10,000, here it was 20,000, here it was 15,000. Let's average out those values. But a human can only do it for 3, 4, 5 pairs maybe. An AI can do it for thousands and millions of past sales. So the main difference is us saving them the amount of time that we're doing. And then also 65% of an appraiser's job on average is data entry, because they have a 50-page report that they fill. We fill the report automatically for them, just with the information that's in the appraisal.
What's the cost on that 2 to 3 weeks?
Do you mean in terms of time, or how much is the?
There is a bottom line there, right?
It ranges anywhere from $450 per appraisal at the very low end to up to $3,000 per appraisal, depending on the size of the property as well as the location of the property.
Just a very quick question. Is your software standalone, or will be integrated to existing real estate software?
So currently they have to use about 4 or 5 different softwares to do their job. Ours is standalone because it takes over all of them. It does the entire process. So they don't need to use any of those ones anymore.
Okay. What is the reaction of appraisal? So they probably paid for those softwares already.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
during our pilot, they're still paying for them. They haven't completely replaced it yet, just because it's still under development and we're still adding extra features in. For example, when it comes to the report generation, there are still certain parts of the report that we're not able to fully generate yet, so it's a work in progress. But ideally,
Okay.
when our full V1 launches, we should be able to take over the entire process.
Okay. Very well. All good. Perfect.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
If anyone has an empty seat beside you, can you scooch in and maybe put up your hand so we can invite some people from the back down? Lots of seats. I'll give everyone a chance to come down and sit before we continue. All right, if everyone can please take your seats, we're going to continue in 2 seconds. Pharmacal Grow is a user-friendly digital market and farm management platform that connects businesses directly to farmers, making it effortless for businesses to access quality produce while upscaling the capabilities of farmers in Africa. Please welcome Lydia Medinton-Conlin, a student at the Masters of Business Entrepreneurship and Technology program at the Conrad School.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lydia Conlan, and I'm representing Pharmaco Grow. I want to introduce to you someone who represents the mission at Pharmaco Grow. Kindly meet Al-Hassan, a 65-year-old, hardworking farmer in northern Ghana who cultivates bambara beans. Al-Hassan, despite his hard work, finds it difficult to get buyers to source his raw materials. And this contributes to the 50% of farm produce that is lost yearly, worth $4 billion US. And then this contributes also to 1.2 tons of food that is lost yearly. This is not just a statistic, but it represents a wasted resources and loss of income for farmers. And as we were struggling to also get buyers for Al-Hassan, we discovered that businesses, on the other hand, are struggling to get quality of produce. They have unmet quality issues and spend over 20% of their budget to clean any raw materials that is being sourced from Al-Hassan. So there comes Pharmaco Grow. We use digital market access platform and production activities that allow us to upscale the capability of smallholder farmers to make sure that they are able to produce the quality that the market needs. So as we get the insight and market demand data, we are able to support farmers like Al-Hassan to be able to produce and meet the market requirements of the buyers. And how does it work? So we consolidate demand data from all these buyers, and then we use that to support farmers on what to grow, when to grow, how to grow, and for whom to grow for optimized yield. Whilst farmers are growing, we collect data, and in the end, we are able to source this produce and deliver to the businesses. And whilst we make money, farmers also make money. So we are entering into a market that is worth $303 billion US dollars, and we are targeting the market in Ghana, which is worth $3.4 billion US dollars. And 70% of farmers are in Ghana and also in Africa, and this is a potential for us to grow. And we have been able to onboard and register over 2,000 smallholder farmers and facilitated the purchase of over 90 metric tons of farm produce and acquired 2 clients. And we have been able to generate $39K, which represent a market potential for our solution. And we are not alone in this market. We have competitors, but we stand out in terms of building a strong traceability system for the businesses while we use market data insight to support farmers to grow and meet the demand. And we have a team that combines expertise in agriculture development, business development, and data. And today we are here to tell you that we are in the process of launching our platform this month, and we have acquired a new client who is interested in over 20,000 metric tons of farm produce. And we are here today asking for your support with the 5K to help us launch our products and also improve upon our delivery infrastructure, as well as helping us to get talent to support us meet this. So join us today as we make agriculture sector profitable in Africa. Thank you.
Well done, very good pitch. I noticed that, can you go to your milestones, the timeline? Yes. Would you a little bit spend more time here? How many customers you talked to and they registered? And what is your growth plan? Are you going to different countries in Africa? And yeah.
Okay, so we started by working with farmers. That was when we wanted to validate our problem, to really understand better what others is a problem. And then we got a referral customer from Singapore who is sourcing Bambara granite, and this was like our first client, so it was through referral that we got. And then we used their market insight, and we were able to register and work with over 2,000 smallholder farmers to make sure that they are able to meet this demand with the clients. And based on offline activities, we got to understand the needs of the businesses, how they want us to also have a well-laid-down traceability system that they can be able to trust our brand and also know where the produce is coming from. So that informed our decision to start building our market platform. And by the end of this March, we want to launch that.
Is your software for, like your platform is for both sides, the farmers and the distributors?
Yes, so the platform is for the businesses to have the opportunity to be able to see the produce and order. But farmers, we realize that they don't use smartphones. They only have simple phones that don't support the internet connections. So we are on our platform, we are adding a voice to text accessibility for farmers to be able to work. And we're also working with the network providers in Ghana to see that we have this integration to allow farmers to be able to call. So we use operational activities to work with the farmers, and businesses are able to access the platform.
Great.
You state that quality is a huge issue in this process. You weren't clear in terms of how you're actually addressing the quality issue.
Okay, yes. So I would just like to walk you through with the first client we got. So they needed over 50 metric tons of farm produce, and based on that information, we used that to work with the farmers. And then they had a lot of quality specs. So in terms of how much the produce should be dried, in terms of how much stones, most of the farmers, when they are harvesting, they add a lot of stones and sand, which is like a big issue when they want to process. So that is also another spec. And then they look at the moisture content. So these are like quality specs that businesses look out for. So with our platform, when we are working with these farmers using that market demand, we are able to make sure that they check all these boxes and meet that requirement. So we make sure we work with them in groups, and then they are able to produce according to the requirements of the market.
Tina? Can you tell everybody? Not here. Here. Oh, yes. Not down there. Up here.
When you are holding your mic, hold it up here, not here. Foresight Oncologics is democratizing access to reliable, relevant, and personalized oncology care information using AI. Pitching for Foresight is Ibukun Elabute, who is from the Masters of Business Entrepreneurship and Technology program.
Every minute that ticks by, somewhere around the world, 40 people are told that they have cancer. By the time I finish this pitch, nearly 120 families will have their lives changed forever. But amidst these daunting numbers lies an even more challenging reality: navigating their new normal. From understanding their diagnosis to choosing the right treatment, the path is fraught with uncertainty and fear. I interviewed and surveyed 25 plus cancer patients to better understand what the challenges of navigating their care looks like. The top one came out to be the difficulty in finding and understanding relevant and reliable oncology information. Interestingly, research studies have found the leading cause of treatment non-adherence for this same reason. The cost of cancer readmissions in the United States, $250 billion, 45% of which has been found to be due to poor patient engagement and education. Moreover, cancer survivorship rates have been seen to increase with an improved version of this. Now, this is where Foresight comes in. We curate the most recent and reliable oncology knowledge database classified by cancer type, so that with our specialized AI models, patients receive relevant information presented in a way that's most relatable to them. This way, they no longer consult Dr. Google, and we unburden the care team, who may not always be equipped to educate the patients effectively. Leading with our AI solution, we plan to take a more holistic approach as a cancer care navigation tool. And we also plan to leverage the opportunities that come from other stakeholders that stand to benefit from this. Our AI-driven knowledge database positions us with a distinct value add that's currently not offered by any of our competitors, especially not in Canada. Using a similar pricing model as that of our competitors, we will be serving an addressable market of $180 million in Canada and $2.3 billion in North America alone. We've only been working on Foresight for about 6 to 8 weeks, and over this time we have done our customer discovery and validation knowledge mapping. We are currently curating data to train our MVP models on, and with $5K today that we're asking for, we'll be able to develop our MVP, as well as just be able to use it to validate with real patients over the next few months. Coming with about 8 years of experience in the health tech industry and joined by an outstanding team with decades of experience in AI, oncology, and research, it is clear that we are the best team to be closing the knowledge gap in the fight against cancer. We hope that you would join us in this fight. Thank you.
they hand the mic to me. All right, so you want to charge the patient $120. Most of my patient friends, especially the ones that have passed away, are largely because they are completely bankrupt because of their cancer diagnosis. Why charge the patient at all when the ownership should be on the oncologist to provide the patient experience, especially in a market like the US where everything, it's a business. Like, I hate to say it, it's gross, but it's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah. So first of all, the model that we used to evaluate this was based on the competitors. So it was just a simple way to say, you know, this is how they charge. Secondly, to your point, we have a more comprehensive breakdown of like almost like 6 breakdowns of how this could go. So basically initiating it from the oncologist, in which case the cancer patient would actually have a free access. However, they can pay for additional features and values if they deem fit. So yeah, just to answer it directly, like, we just followed what we saw, and we would explore other ways to unburden the cancer patient from having to pay with this, including looking into insurance covering this as well.
Perfect. One last question. How do you ensure that what the oncologist is saying matches what your software is saying and it isn't contradictory?
That's a very good question. So our plan for that essentially is, because it will be initiated from the oncologist, basically the cancer patient won't be able to access the app without a code from the oncologist. And so they would have a way to verify whatever information is coming across to the patient. So that's how we plan to address that.
You mentioned that you've started 6 weeks ago. You've done some customer discovery. You said you're done customer discovery. You're never done customer discovery.
Yeah.
Who did you talk to? How did you get in touch with them? What did you learn that you didn't know?
So a lot of this started with the Cornerstone program, where we had a 10-day sprint and we were forced to talk to a lot of people. Initially, the problem we had in mind was, there was a problem with like research, and that was like the core problem. However, when we spoke to oncologists and some of the cancer patients, it was clear that we needed to pivot to just how knowledge was being broken down. We heard the same pain points with the oncologist as well, where they said, this is a very, very draining process. Sometimes we worry that we're not able to break down the information clearly for the patient. And also for the cancer patients, as I showed, is like a key, the top thing that came out. So how I spoke to them, surveys, interviews, and yeah, it was a combination of those.
How many interviews?
We did about 20, so interviews was about 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well communicated. It must be because you came to our communication workshop a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't have a question. I want to say that the presentation is well made and very well communicated. I'm just hoping that you go talk to all the stakeholders, see where you're getting, what kind of data you're getting. It's a lot of data out there, from genomics to all aftercare. So go get your answers.
Sure.
It might change the solution that you're having now.
Thank you.
All right, very well done.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Grease Tech. This team is augmenting the manual greasing process for bearings in manufacturing by removing human error from the existing process of lubrication. We're going to hear from Jesh Ramesh, a Master's of Business Entrepreneurship and Technology student representing Grease Tech.
When I was working as an engineer for a Fortune 500 manufacturing company, a big part of my role was to take care of equipment like this. And a big part of that was to take care of all the critical bearings within this equipment. Bearings are sort of the shoulders and joints of any rotating part. As long as there's a rotating shaft, you need a bearing to make sure it's going smoothly. You can imagine all that rotation causes heat and vibration, and they need to be maintained. So we had a manual maintenance process for bearings, where a maintenance person would walk around the plant with a lubrication gun and lubricate all the bearings within a plant. And you can see on the right that bearings are usually sealed, so you can't really tell if it's lubricated or not. So for equipment like this, there are these many bearings. And an average plant has about 2,000 of this. And with a process like the one shown on the right, you can imagine it's very tricky to keep track of all the bearings in a plant. These bearings, you need to keep track of where they're located, the size of the bearings, the amount of lubrication needed per bearing, the frequency at which they need to be lubricated. Inevitably, there's human error in this process. As a result, bearings are often under-greased, over-greased, and sometimes even missed. They eventually fail and cause expensive downtime. You can imagine the frustration when an equipment that I just showed is sitting idle on the plant floor because one of those bearings failed. In my plant, that equipment costed us up to $30,000 every hour it was sitting idle. So I knew I had this frustration, but I looked around to see if others did too. Sure enough, an MIT journal says it's a $240 billion per year problem in North America. And up to 50 to 80% of all bearing failure is due to lubrication issues. We talked to dozens of manufacturing companies over the past 3 months. These are some of the more prominent ones. And they all agree that there is a problem. But what we learned was that there are already automated lubrication systems out there that are solving this issue, but they're very complex and expensive and are really suitable for about 15% of this market. The remaining 85% of manufacturing companies heavily rely on manual greasing. Now, there are sensors that are trying to address this market, but they're more reactive than proactive. And so there's a clear gap that we are filling. GreaseTech is solving this problem through our IoT SaaS platform solution, where the IoT sensors sit on each of the bearings and communicates through a SaaS platform if all the bearings have been lubricated properly or not. This solution has a $7 billion market, and we are getting through this market by taking steps, by going down the road to the Pillars manufacturing plant here at Waterloo, and starting a paid pilot within the next 2 months. Then we'll have a pilot with PCA across the border. We need $5,000 to complete this prototype, and we are the right team to do this due to my experience in the industry and engineering and Minal's experience as a product manager at a Y Combinator startup. Empower us to make an impact in this industry.
You're lucky you project well because you had the mic down here.
Oh, sorry.
You're not trying to entertain them. You're trying to convince us to give you money, and I can't always hear you. The photo of the factory and then all the boxes showing up here, all the bearings. Oh, chef's kiss. Love that. The pilot you've got coming up. Okay, no, forget that. Where I was trying to go with this is that I'm not understanding how much money you're actually saving them. So I would have loved to see something like, oh, for this pilot, they've got these many machines, which means these many bearings. We need one sensor per bearing. That is, we're charging them this much, and therefore we're saving them this much, because this is the cost per bearing that they have. You talked about the cost of bearing failures in the market. I don't care about the market. I care about the people you're selling to. So I don't have an understanding if you're selling them a very expensive solution for a problem that that's not necessarily a big problem for them. It's cool that you got a paid pilot, but tell me why they're so freaking excited to work with you because you're going to save them tons of money. Like, what did they tell you?
Yeah, so Pillars is interesting because they are not our ideal customer. They're more worried about about the savings from bearing failures. They're more worried about, Pillars is more of a smaller plant, and they want this over 24 bearings, Zerks, and they have operations and maintenance teams, right? So there's distrust between operations and maintenance. So they want to get rid of that distrust by making sure operations is doing their part of lubrication. But they are ideal for our paid pilot because they're right down the road, and we can we can get all the bugs out. But our ideal plant is like a plant I used to work at. We're estimating we'll save around $240,000 because we have
you can't have downtime in a factory. Like
right,
that,
exactly.
And your entire pitch should be just based around downtime kills factories, right? Who are you selling to, maintenance or operations?
So we're selling to maintenance. Yeah.
You're selling to maintenance, and the solution, the problem that maintenance has is it feels like more of a problem for operations because operations is trying to maintain that uptime, right? The only problem that maintenance has is operations doesn't believe them. Is that right?
So in this plant, yes. So we are really selling to the reliability engineer who's sort of connected to the maintenance department, but not, sorry.
It's fine. Don't worry.
But not really because he's independent. He's in between like
In between
maintenance department and operations. But ideally, we'll be selling it to like a production manager or a reliability engineer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really quickly, how many people have you spoken to that resulted into these pilots?
Yeah, we've spoken to 20-ish companies and about 50 people.
Downtime kills a factory.
Yeah.
You just showed that picture of all those boxes. How the hell are you going to implement this into all of those? And what downtime is needed to be able to implement this into all of those bearings?
Yeah. So I'm obviously manufacturing is such a huge industry. I'll be starting with, so my experience is in pulp and paper and I have connections there. So I'll be starting with that in specific industry because I can talk the lingo in Canada. And then from there, we'll expand to, once we can get through one of these bigger companies, it's easier to expand because all. How are you implementing the solution itself? How are you getting it in the machine? In order to install Gotcha. No, it's easily integratable. So like I don't need to be there in person. So initially for prototyping, I'll be there in person to install these sensors over the bearings. So these sensors will, you can just screw them on to where the grease goes into the bearings. So there's not a lot of technology needed, yeah.
Okay, seems time's up. Sorry.
Make My is empowering collaboration and innovation by connecting makers and entrepreneurs to help bring projects and startups to life. Pitching on behalf of Make My is Noah Yakawar, an undergraduate student from Mechatronics Engineering.
Imagine the challenge of finding the right team to bring your project to life. Relying on your network often falls short of finding you the right partners. From our survey, 85% of respondents reported having trouble finding collaborators. Take Andrea, an engineering student with a passion for innovation. She's thinking of developing a smart prosthetic arm. Possessing the mechanical know-how, she's lacking in software experience. Andrea's not sure where to look. Meet Make My, the app for posting and joining projects. Users can sort through projects using various tags and request to join the ones they find interesting. The app also supports open source. Within projects, there are various tools for managing communications and project organization. Other features include followers and project update posts. Users will be able to follow projects they may not be a part of and see updates come up in their feed. The data shows that collaboration and hands-on learning greatly increases performance. From this, 70% of respondents to our survey indicated that they felt that Make My would finish their projects by finding them partners. Globally, there are over 29 million software developers and 216 million university students and online learners. Capturing just 1% of them would give a potential market cap of over 2 million users. From the get-go, we plan to target students, as they are the most eager to learn and develop their portfolios. There is competition that exists, although they either only support open source, do not possess project management tools, or lack dedicated project searching. Make My is an all-encompassing platform that applies to any and all projects. Revenue will follow a freemium business model, whereby premium users will gain access to unlimited project access, heightened project visibility, and an ad-free experience. To date, we've made great strides in the project. We have a working minimum viable product that is currently undergoing UI revisions through speaking with users, potential users online. And we also are going to be going through trials with this MVP soon. We also have an event set up with Velocity for this Friday to get user feedback. And we also have an iOS app in the works. We're here to take your project ideas and turn them into the inevitable. Join us and let make your project a reality.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, the problem that you're solving is collaboration on projects?
So it's finding people to collaborate with. That's the issue we're solving.
Finding people to collaborate with. Okay, so it's not the ideas to collaborate on, it's finding people to collaborate with. Okay. Oh, look at that. You use a lot of dots. Way to suck up to us by using our brand. It's great. So you've only done survey customer discovery so far? You haven't done, I mean, it's really cool that you've got an event coming up this Friday, but have you done any in-person interviews or anything else in person?
Yeah, so no, it's all been virtually. Since it's a virtual platform, we thought it made most sense to talk with people on the online space. So we went to various maker communities on Reddit and via Discord. We'd speak with them and show them different UI layouts for the app, what they thought worked best, what they thought they'd enjoy the most. But now we've put all those UI elements into an app, a web version of the app, and we're going to be undergoing trials with the back end and the front end for people to start trying. But we haven't started that. It's just been speaking with potential users to go over UI elements and what they thought about how they'd be using it.
Are you a part of Socratica?
No. Okay. But I have heard of them.
Okay.
I have no idea who your target user is.
So,
You mentioned someone making an arm, then you mentioned software people, and then your competitors were Reddit and GitHub, which are like completely different. What's going on there? Talk to me.
so potential users are, or the target, to start, our target users are going to be students. Everybody in my class that I've met has project ideas, and this is where it started. But sometimes we have difficulty finding the right people that agree with our ideas or that would like to join in. Oh, sorry. That would like to join in on our ideas. So the issue is finding people, and that applies to all students who are interested in trying some collaborative project. It could be video game design. It could be building a robotic arm. It could be anything. So anybody who has a project, this is who that applies to. It's outsourcing your search from your immediate circle to the web. We do it with dating, and we do it with questions with Reddit. The reason I mentioned those options is because there isn't really an equivalent to this. I'm thinking with Reddit that you have communities where people find other people interested in startups and various communities for specific, very niche topics where people collaborate through questioning, and sometimes you get a project out of that, but it's not very common. The very closest thing we have to something like this is strictly dealing with open source. You do have some websites which allow people to find open source projects to collaborate on, but nothing with smaller projects and nothing with new projects coming out. These open source projects are ones that are already developed. So if you have a new idea, there's nowhere really to look with dedicated searching.
Okay. How do you make money, and how your users make money, and how you handle all the transactions?
So users, so it's through premium subscriptions. We're charging $10 a month for the premium version. It's a freemium model. We estimate 10% of users would be having the premium, and the other 90% we're making through advertisements. So a realistic look would be $2 per 1,000 interactions with an ad. So we estimate about 54 cents can be made per user per month just from advertisements, with assuming 300 interactions with ads at $2 RPM. You're getting 54 cents. So it's through advertisements and premium subscriptions.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, one last thing. Hello,
Yes.
hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Hey, that guy. Hey, make mine. Last thing, you said you spent all this time focusing on the user interface stuff. You didn't show it to us. Next time, show it to us.
The team behind Monterre is developing a modular and customizable espresso machine, allowing users to upgrade components as they see fit. Pitching for Monterre is Jacob Levay, a science and business undergrad from the Faculty of Science.
The Monterre team and I, being in 4th year, have developed a bit of a caffeine addiction. This recently has changed from coffee to espresso, and we have all looked to buy at-home espresso machines. But espresso can come in at various prices. All of these machines have different options and different features. What machine is best? Which one has the options I'm looking for? What features matter? We weren't really sure. So we tried to find an espresso machine that can grow with you and your needs. We couldn't. So what did we do? We made it. Introducing Monterre, a completely customizable and modular espresso machine built around the idea of why compromise. Built around modularity, our home base contains modules of all the necessary and essential components an espresso machine needs to function, such as a boiler and a water reservoir. Our modular add-ons allow for customizability and expansion, such as a touchscreen, a second boiler, or a grinder. These components can be changed out by the user in their own home, pushing right to repair and the perfect machine for every user. Now, coffee is a huge industry, and people love their coffee. 70% of North Americans have coffee every day, and people love to make their coffee. 82% of these people make it at home, making at-home coffee a $100 billion a year market. But why espresso? 25% of coffee drinkers in the past day drank espresso. But this minority feels like a majority. These 14% of coffee machines sold that are espresso machines makes up a $3 billion plus market. But behind that market are people that are passionate, active, and extremely community-driven. These people see coffee not as a drink, it's more than a hobby, it's a craft, and it deserves nothing but perfection. And those are the people that we talk to. We talk to coffee shop owners, we talk to espresso machine enthusiasts, and they both showed interest in upgrading their current machine and in purchasing our product. But what makes us the right fit? Let's paint a scenario. I have a $1,000 espresso machine. I'm now really into the hobby, and I want features of a $2,000 espresso machine. Instead of selling the machine I currently have, probably for a loss, and then buying another machine, I can simply purchase our home base, add on the specific components that I'm looking for, and ultimately get the perfect machine for me. Currently, we are at an alpha level prototype. This is roughly based on a capstone project, which proved that modularity is possible, and we designed it. But why? Well, we love espresso. Yes, these large companies can create these espresso machines, but we establish a product in a market that we are passionate for, a community that we are involved in. We are more than qualified to do this, and where are we going to push it? Deep into 2024, through continuing customer validation and development, and hopefully get a product with funding into customers' hands by the end of the year. Thank you, and on behalf of Monterre, we hope you think, why compromise?
Hi, I'm Cole, a technical lead for Monterre, and I'm here to answer questions.
All right. Your customers will be the one that using Nespresso, or you're dealing with the ones that they can't afford, like an espresso machine?
Yeah, so our target customer base are newcomers to the premium home espresso space.
Users? Okay.
These are typically like 25 to 50-year-olds with large disposable incomes and just getting really into the hobby of espresso.
Okay. The ones that they wanted to like modulate their system, like do you make parts that's already can be like integrate to the current systems, or no, yours is like
So this is for newcomers to the space for their first espresso machine, because this is a problem that we had, I personally had a year ago getting into espresso, is you buy a entry-level or mid-level machine and then you soon want to upgrade, and your only option for upgrading is to sell your current machine and buy a new one. So this gives users an option to buy a machine with baseline features at the beginning of their journey into this niche and this hobby, and then upgrade it as they see fit when they want to for just the cost of the components they're adding rather than the cost of an entire new machine.
So as a capstone project, I'm sure you've been focused on the electromechanical system, building the thing. Are you looking to actually turn this into a business after graduation?
We are. So in addition to doing this as a capstone, we've also been pursuing the business side of this through Bet300, Wayne's course.
Okay.
And then we've also been getting involved in Velocity. We recently joined Communitech, and we're talking to VCs and potential angel investors along the way.
Okay. How have you validated that somebody's willing to give you money for this? Let me rephrase that. How have you validated that a stranger is willing to give you money for this?
Certainly. So we've talked to 20, 25 home espresso users. Roughly like 5 to 10 of those are people we already knew, but the rest of them were introduced to us through warm intros. And we've seen a large interest not only in this solution, but in the ability to upgrade at all. This is a problem that a large sector of the community has seen, and we're confident that people will see the value in a machine that you might be slightly more expensive in the beginning, but will cost significantly less in the long run because it's the only machine they'll ever have to buy.
Why? Why? Like, why does it need to be modular? Why does there need to be other things like, and it's just espresso. It's a small part of a bigger market.
It's just espresso to people that aren't in the hobby, but that's like saying it's just a computer to people that don't build PCs. The people that are into it are really into it. This is a hobby space. And just the home espresso machine market is a $3 billion market in the United States alone.
But what are you getting out of it being modular? Like, I don't understand the benefits of this.
So I'll use myself for example. I recently got a beginner level espresso machine, and I now want PID control, so precise temperature control. And I'm gonna have to sell the machine I currently have to get this new upgraded version. I don't wanna dip my toes in the water in a hobby with a $2,500 machine. I wanna do that with an $800 or $1,000 machine, and then get further into the hobby when I know that it's something that I enjoy.
You should talk to the team from Bardison. Have you talked to those guys?
We have talked to Brian, yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
NewGen Health is developing a non-invasive rapid test to detect the earliest sign of kidney damage. Pitching on behalf of NewGen is Mazhar Shaheen from the Faculty of Health.
Hello. Hello, everyone. If I was to ask you right now, how well are your kidneys doing? Would you have an answer? Kidney disease is a silent killer. With stats telling us that 1 in 10 people in this room have already developed the disease. And the scary part is 90% of them are unaware. This problem affects 805 million people around the world. Now, our kidneys don't have any sensors to warn us. Therefore, early detection is really difficult for physicians, with majority of cases being caught late between stages 3 to 5. At that point, intervention is just a ticking time bomb that leads to dialysis. At stages 1 and 2, intervention is crucial, with minimal changes to preserve our kidney function. The current workflow is inefficient and time-consuming. When a physician suspects kidney disease, they would refer you to a specialist to draw your blood. Then your blood would be sent to a lab technician, and then that turns out to be another follow-up visit for you in order to get your treatment plan. But how many people will comply with all these steps if it doesn't even hurt? NewGen is revolutionizing the way we detect kidney disease through a pee-on-a-stick solution that integrates a sensor to get an accurate measurement on our kidneys. The results will be sent to our software for instant visual feedback and monitoring. Now, with our solution, we can cut out unnecessary follow-ups, and we can get rapid results in one single visit. The current standard of care is not only invasive, but also expensive, costing around $70 per patient screened. Our solution is non-invasive, immediate, and costs $5 per patient. We are entering the market by targeting patients at high risk who need to get tested frequently. Through dual sales channels with glucose monitors, we'll be able to target patients with diabetes who are 3 times more likely to develop the illness. Our test will also be dispensed in hospitals as part of inpatient care, as our customer validation has taught us that patients during their stay at the hospital, they get tested frequently for kidney disease. This is an $8 billion market that we're targeting, and we're going to be starting by capturing the US market and strategically expanding to the Middle East. NewGen has achieved significant milestones in the past year, including receiving our ethics, filed a patent, and we also launched our prototype earlier this year, and we're currently testing it on humans. This has led to us receiving interest from the 2 largest key players in accelerating clinical trials in Canada. And we are seeking $5,000 to scale our production process. I'm the CEO of NewGen. I am going to my master's in engineering, and I've worked in multiple medtech startups, and my co-founder, Shiv, is a published author with a specialization in molecular biology. Join us in revolutionizing kidney disease. Thank you.
Great job. Ethics approval on the human, what trial?
This was for an animal study that we conducted at the University of Waterloo. This was back in a couple of months back. We
Okay.
do not need ethics approval for the urine that we're collecting at the moment, based on a couple of hospitals that we've spoken to.
Because you're class 1?
Yeah, no, so the urine part is class 1.
Okay.
That's fine, but
Yep.
the sensor will be class 2.
Okay, and you don't need ethics approval for human because?
Because this is just a technical study where we're validating
Okay.
our sensor. It's not for patients with diabetes or patients with any diseases.
Okay, and then you're probably going to do human studies down the road where you actually look at the efficacy around the results?
Exactly, so this is where we got interest from the 2 largest key players, one here in Hamilton and one in Alberta, who are willing to help us with the next trials.
Both very good spots to do clinical trials. IP, talk to me about IP.
We filed a provisional around July, August last year, and we're planning on acting on that provisional hopefully this year, or possibly finding a different provisional depending on how we pivot after the prototype.
Utility?
Yep.
Around the diagnostics?
We don't want to go so far to say
Monitoring?
diagnostics. Yeah, we'll just go with screening and detection.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good.
Is this device, like you sell it to the clinicians, and then it's not patients don't test, it's not like COVID test at home?
No, we don't want to be like COVID tests. We want to be more accurate. We want to have it at the patient's offices and integrating into their systems.
Okay, so it's just a kind of a fast detection in the office rather than send blood work?
Exactly, to reduce
Okay.
the backlog on the
Just
labs.
want to clarify that it's not a home test.
It's not a home test,
Okay.
no.
Okay, because it will be scary for patient to see if I have it at home. I see that if I have the kidney disease. Okay, good to clarify. Yeah.
Why haven't you dropped out yet?
It's in the process.
Okay. We're waiting at the incubator.
Thank you.
I didn't tell him to drop out. I asked him why he hasn't yet. I would never. I work for a university.
Thank you very much.
We still have one more team before intermission, but I want to give everyone a moment who's standing at the back to come down and grab an empty seat if you want to sit down instead of standing. There's a bunch of empty seats over here. Up next, OneBuy is an all-in-one purchasing platform that enables childcare centers to simplify procurement and save money. Co-founder Yahia Rao is from the Faculty of Arts in Accounting and Financial Management.
Hi, my name is Yahia, and I'm the co-founder of OneBuy. And we are on a mission to revolutionize procurement for childcare centers. So OneBuy is an all-in-one purchasing platform that enables childcare centers, which includes daycares, Montessori's, and academies, to simplify their procurement so they can save time and money and focus on delivering exceptional education and care to the children. The problem is that procurement is one of the most challenging and time-intensive essential tasks that a childcare center has to do. This means every single week they have to order supplies such as food, snacks, cleaning supplies, arts and crafts, toys and games, so much stuff. In fact, they spend $30,000 every single year on procurement and spend 20 hours every single month trying to find the best price and just overall doing procurement. And this is because the procurement process is completely broken. It's completely outdated to order. You're going through 5 to 10 different websites trying to find the best price, calling reps. It's completely broken. Also, these daycare centers are treated as consumers because it's just one daycare center ordering, so they don't get good pricing. The solution is OneBuy's all-in-one procurement platform, which offers the ability to reorder commonly ordered stuff with a click of a button, automate supply approval workflows, automate recurring orders, and just get access to exclusive discounts. The traction we've had has been really good so far. So we essentially started off by making a platform for group purchasing for SMBs, but pivoted to childcare centers in the last 3 months, in which we've already processed $3,500 worth of orders from these daycares. So we received 2 orders from 2 different centers and are currently doing a pilot project with a franchise of daycares. Furthermore, we also have signed contracts with Staples, Best Buy, Grand & Toy, and more suppliers to get access to pre-negotiated exclusive discounts. Moving forward, the daycare market is massive. So the daycare procurement market in particular is massive, with a $3.24 billion TAM, $2.62 billion SAM, and $500 million SOM. And our business model is very unique, in which we can maximize revenues through a subscription model and taking rebates. So we can take a subscription model from the users, like the daycare or childcare centers, and also taking a 2 to 4% rebate from the suppliers to maximize our revenue. In terms of competition, OneBuy is the only procurement platform built specifically for childcare centers in the entire market. In terms of team, I think most importantly, I have a business background, and my co-founder Suyash has an engineering background where I did investment banking in New York and Suyash software engineering in San Francisco. And yeah, we want all of you all to join us in revolutionizing procurement for childcare centers.
Hi everyone, my name is Suyash, and I'm the other co-founder of OneBuy. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Something that wasn't clear to me is, are you holding inventory?
No. It's a dropship model, so whenever we purchase from suppliers, they're going to be sending it out to our customers.
Yeah. So when you first started, I was like, oh man, yeah, like, cool. Yeah, I could totally see this happening. And I was like, wait, Amazon business accounts exist. Yeah, like I don't, and that wasn't even listed as competition. Like I just don't understand why I wouldn't just create an Amazon account and set up recurring purchases over there.
I mean, so you can do that, and right now some of them do use Amazon Business, but that's not the only vendor they're buying things from. One of our customers is buying things from like 10 different vendors, even though she has an Amazon Business account. So the fact of the matter is that they're still buying from other people. And also, not all products are available on Amazon, such as like food. Sure, they might have snacks and like simple toys and things like that, and cleaning supplies, but not everything is there. And there's also regulations for a bunch of daycare supplies, such as, especially for cleaning, so you can't just buy something from like Walmart. You need to get something that meets a specific specification.
Ah, there you go. I mean, that's still a very small subset of all the things that they need to buy, but it's like, oh, okay, now there's, that makes a little bit more sense. How much have you validated this with people that you would want as customers?
Yeah, we've had, I'd say, like 30 conversations with different daycares, whether that be home daycares, daycare centers, franchises, things like that. A lot of people have mentioned that, yeah, purchasing is a very time-consuming process for them, and they would rather just, use that time to obviously focus on the kids that they're taking care of instead of having to focus on this. So a lot of people have expressed interest.
Okay, how many said that they would use this if you built it?
We have, I believe, like 5 daycares that are actually very interested in our actual product.
And you charge them $20 per month?
Yeah, so that's one of the things we're considering. We haven't fully established what we're going to be finalizing on, but we're still doing pricing discovery work with our conversations.
Okay, and what is your backend? How it works? Like you get all of the because purchases might be different from month to month.
Right.
So are you working with a supplier or with another delivery companies? How it works?
Yeah, so the way the platform works is each daycare center can essentially build their own catalog of things they buy from different vendors. And then, so when an order is placed, it has to be approved then by some higher up, which is someone who works at the daycare, probably at the headquarters, like a director. And then we get that order request, and what we do is we take those items that we find, and we try to find even better discounts on them, or we're going to go through our own suppliers that we have pre-negotiated discounts with. So in a sense, they're sort of like outsourcing their purchasing function to us, and we have to do that operations ourselves, which saves them a bunch of time.
Okay. All right, I'm just wondering that how much time and money they save, and is that $20 is a fair value, or you need to charge higher? Yeah.
I think we definitely need to consider.
Yes, talk to them, see how much the time they spend on deliveries. If they do it different suppliers, you wanted to adjust the pricing.
For sure.
All right, thank
Thank you.
All right, please stay seated for 2 seconds, but we are going to take a quick break for intermission. Please take a moment to fill out our survey and let us know what you think so far. And don't forget to register for night 2 of the semifinals and the finals on April 4th. Bathrooms are at the far end of the main lobby, beyond the staircase on the left, and we'll be back here at 6:20 to hear the remaining pitches. Thank you. So we're going to kick things off with orthoflexion. Orthoflexion creates sensors and provides smart feedback that makes managing pediatric orthopedic bracing easier for patients, parents, and healthcare providers. Pitching on behalf of the team is Ella Walsh, an undergraduate in biomedical engineering.
Hi everyone, my name is Ella, and today I'm representing orthoflexion. Our goal is to reduce the burden of bracing treatment management for parents and clinicians. So I began this project about 2 years ago when I was working in the orthopedic clinic at Sick Kids, and I saw parents struggling to manage their children's treatment and clinicians struggling to find enough information to kind of observe a child's progress over time. So I'll start by talking about clubfoot, which is the most common musculoskeletal birth defect. Children are born with their feet turned down and in, and after treatment they need to wear a foot brace for at least 12 hours a day until they're 5 years old to maintain that correction. Now, the length of the treatment timeline and the high parental involvement required creates a huge burden on families. Most of the parents that I spoke to in clinic indicated that they often worry if they've applied the brace correctly. Parents also tend to overestimate the amount of hours a child has actually worn the brace, so clinicians have no reliable way of knowing if protocol is being adhered to, and they have to stick with a one-size-fits-all treatment regimen. This brace non-compliance leads to clubfoot recurrence, which extends the treatment timeline. It can lead to invasive surgery, and it has a huge financial and emotional burden on parents and clinicians. So our mission is to simplify the pain points within this treatment to improve outcomes for children. Our team is well equipped to do so, consisting of an orthopedic surgeon and a clinical research engineer with past experience commercializing technology in this space. Our connections also include an international network of orthopedic surgeons and industry leaders in bracing and health data management. So we are developing sensor devices and app interfaces for parents and clinicians. Our sensor simply attaches to a child's existing clubfoot brace and reports information on brace fit to the parent's app. They can also track the treatment schedule and share data with their doctors, who are now able to tailor their treatment recommendations to that child's progress. In initial prototype testing at Sick Kids, the vast majority of stakeholders we've connected with indicated they would use our solution. We plan to distribute our devices through clinics, sold directly to parents alongside the braces they're already purchasing every 6 months. Clinicians use a subscription-based dashboard to track their patients. The clubfoot market in high to middle income countries represents up to 750,000 active devices, giving a $262 million serviceable addressable market. And when looking only at the US, Canada, and Europe, and assuming a 20% market share, that gives us a $5.3 million annual market. Extending our applications beyond clubfoot treatment to additional pediatric bracing and casting applications with similar needs, this allows us to expand our global addressable market to upwards of $1.8 billion. We already have 2 pilot sites onboarded for initial product validation beginning mid-spring this year, so the 5K will go towards the production and distribution of these devices. Our initial feedback has been incredibly supportive, and we're excited to bring our technology to the parents and clinicians and families who need them the most. Thank you.
Connect with me. You follow the exact same business model I follow with High Ivy. I have lots of learnings that I can share with you. You fall under the MSK category within our TM, which is a very lovely, lucrative business model in the US, but let's talk. Connect with me.
Sounds good.
I wanted to ask, first of all, very well done. 2 questions I have. One is, what is your regulatory path? Have you thought about it? And second, what is the stage of your product? And have you already have your hardware and software ready? And what stage you're at?
Yeah. So number 1, we categorize as a class 1 device. It's low risk, it's non-diagnostic. So pretty easy regulatory pathway there. And then on the product development side, we have some initial prototypes for a sensor insert, and then the picture that was shown was the electronics attachment that goes on the back of the brace. And we're planning on just scaling up the production of those and making sure they're robust enough to go on kids' feet this summer.
Perfect. Thank you.
Just want to make sure I'm understanding the problem you're solving is, like, I heard you say something about fit. So it's like you're measuring that the braces continue to fit properly over time, over usage?
Yeah, overnight up to over time.
Okay. because if it doesn't fit well over time, or overnight or over time, it takes longer for the brace to have its effect. And you also mentioned reoccurrence. Is that after the braces stop being used for a while?
Pretty much. So non-compliance kind of covers hours of brace wear as well as quality of brace fit. So if they're not tightening the brace enough, the clubfoot will start to grow back and recur, and then that can require expensive surgery.
Okay. Why make an add-on sensor instead of making a brace with integrated sensors?
It's a good point. The clubfoot brace market right now is pretty saturated. There's one or two major players, so we figured that competing with them rather than making a sensor that integrates in any clubfoot brace would be a harder strategy to accomplish.
Okay. And then, I mean, this can also already be probably a very expensive experience for a family to go through. What makes you certain that people are willing to spend extra on the sensor rather than just say, no, I know how to fit a brace, like I'll just make sure that they're wearing it properly?
So the number one concern that we heard when we talked to parents in interviews face-to-face was a lack of information. So if they're not sure that something just doesn't quite look right with their brace, they're going to try to call their clinician, they're going to try and Google it online, and they're just not sure if they've applied it correctly. So that peace of mind, just having that information directly available to them through an app is where our biggest value is. Also, the braces cost about $300 every 6 months as the child outgrows them, so it's already a pretty expensive place to be.
Oh, and in that case, your sensor can be taken out of one brace, put into the next size up, put into the next size up.
That would be the eventual goal. There's some overlap in sizes right now, but they go from like a size quadruple 0 up to a size 12, so there's still some jumps there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Now we're going to hear from Outseek, a financial research and analysis terminal for research investors. Outseek is led by Nathan Dobko, an arts and business and economics student from the Faculty of Arts.
Sorry. We created hundreds of components and views that investors can access, such as financial statements, insider trading, institutional ownership, and much more. We've created a lot of things that aren't on other sites, including company analytics, where users can see how other stocks are performing compared to their country, industry, and other things. As I mentioned before, investors value time. That's why we create tools that provide quick, conclusive information. For example, we provide access to earnings transcripts where users can listen to, as well as get a quick bullet point summary in just 2 seconds. In the past 2 months, we've had over 500 users on the site with an average engagement time of over 9 minutes. With our exclusive API agreement, we can be profitable with just 25 paying users. Our revenue will come from a recurring $8.99 subscription, which is very low compared to our competitors. This can save investors up to $400 a year compared to top sites. To start, we'll target retail investors. There's approximately 50 million estimated active retail investors globally. And just how big is this market? Well, top sites in the industry receive over 1 billion combined monthly page views. Paul and I co-founded Outseek as a project, and now we want to go all in and take over the industry. Paul is a software engineer, and I have my Canadian securities course. Together, we have over 12 years of investing experience, and so we know what users want. Next week, we'll roll out our paid subscription and start earning revenue. In April, we plan to seek investment as well as apply to YC. In early July, we plan to seek corporate partnerships with brokerages such as Wealthsimple. Financial data investors need in the way that they want. Outseek, thank you.
Are these real mock-ups of the, or like, not even mock-ups, is this like screen captures of the actual software?
This is live on the site right now, yes.
Okay, first of all, fantastic job actually putting that in there. It's great to see what you've built. You know that this is a crowded space.
It is.
Right? You mentioned, okay, we've got some features that other people don't have. Okay, sure. But I mean, maybe they built those they haven't built those features because they don't think it's as important, right? So, what's gonna make you stand out? What do you think you have figured out that other people haven't?
Well, to start off, our pricing is significantly lower, so that's one thing. But in terms of the actual content, we have beautiful visualizations, as you can see. That's one thing, because a lot of the sites right now are frankly quite ugly. Their UI is complicated. And another thing is we're introducing conclusive information, which isn't often seen, especially in the retail space. So for example, right here, you can access earnings transcripts back to 20 years, every single quarter per year, and you can summarize them in quick bullet points. So this is actually from our website. This is not a mock-up. And that just saves investors like an hour of looking or reading or even listening to the earnings transcript.
You're still early in your journey, like what you're building so far, but I want you to continue to think about how you can approach a problem in different ways, right? Like, so it's not about competing with all the options that are out there. How are you going to get people that would have never considered using a platform like this to use yours and not even look at the others? So it's not about competing within the market, it's about creating a new market. I think that'll be a really interesting opportunity to invite more people to this space to think more deeply about what they're investing in. You might even want to consider things like, okay, how do I, maybe it's not my product, but maybe we build the back-end system that integrates into, Wealthsimple or other places, and like they pay you large sums of money every year to basically continue to build out features for their platforms or something like that. So there's many different opportunities for you, but like to see something so polished and well presented.
Thank you.
Are you just scraping data and pulling it into the platform, or where are you getting your data from?
Yeah, so in some parts we are, but we have an exclusive agreement with an API provider, and they get their data from the SEC and scraping other places. It's quite reliable, and we have a great relationship with them. We've been with them for quite a while, so we have some low grandfathered pricing. So yeah.
Yeah, I would just focus on the competitor side, because I mean, like Motley Fool and all these guys, they all have these like heat maps that you're kind of showing up here. I like the transcript thing though; that's really interesting, and I know that Watson can do analysis of like AI analysis of these types of things to better understand. So it'd be really interesting to kind of integrate some of those components into it. But yeah, just make sure to pull in that competitor piece.
Thank you.
What is your next step? What are like the next milestone that you want to hit, like number of customers or pilot studies?
Yeah, so our goal is we want to get to 5,000 active users per month. We haven't paid for any advertising yet, so we want to start that and see where it goes. Everything so far has just been, Reddit, Discord, word of mouth, that type of thing. So yeah, I think our goal is
marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one more thing. You mentioned average on-site time of 9 minutes. So first of all, I'm really impressed that you are like tracking that. That's great. Two things about that. I want you to be thinking very deeply about how do I get that from 9 minutes to 90 minutes, right? And I want you to be thinking about okay, the average is 9, but who's already using it for 30? Because there's going to be a bunch of people that are using it for 1, right? So who's using it for 30, and how do I find more people like that?
Sounds good. The industry average from what we've seen across top sites is usually 5 to 7 minutes. So
that's helpful information to put in your pitch when you're talking about you having 9. My statement still stands about I want to see how you're going to get to 90. I don't care if the average is 5. You're going to be better than everyone.
Thank you.
Sheepit is an end-to-end herd tracking and genomics solution for sheep farmers in Canada. Pitching for Sheepit is Josiah Plett, an undergraduate student studying computer science from the Faculty of Math.
Thank you. Imagine you own a sheep. That sheep has a lot of data associated with it. It's health data, it's medications, it's vaccines, it's wool health, how much milk it gave you today, it's genetic data, etc. So what if you own 500 of these sheep? How are you going to keep track of all of that data? We talked to 5 small sheep farmers in Canada, and 4 to 5 of them are only using pencil and paper. One sheep farmer who only has 12 sheep is spending over 100 hours a year only writing that data. So not going into the field and not dealing with regulators, only writing down that data and looking at what her sheep need each day based on their medications. So let's pause. Is there actually a solution to this? 4 to 5, that is a lot of people not using any technological solution. So first of all, the agriculture tech in Canada, specifically the sheep industry, is very low innovation, and there's also generational problems. So one of our farmers who has 600 sheep inherited 600 pieces of paper from his father when he took over the sheep farm. And so even though he wants to use a solution, he can't because it's all in paper right now. This is the only solution that exists in Canada. It's called uManage. This is our solution. This is Sheepit. Considering its design in the 21st century, I think we've got a pretty good shot here. So there are current solutions that do look pretty nice, that do exist. However, they're only focused on industrial or regulation-based solutions. Essentially, we only have solutions for large sheep farms. So we're looking at small farmers, and we're looking at a data-focused solution, not a regulation-focused solution. Out of the 8,400 Canadian sheep farmers, 90% of them have fewer than 500 sheep, which on average is managed by 2 people or less. So they're very small farms, mostly in Canada, and it's a growing industry. Based on similar solutions for goat farms and scaling down industrial prices, we expect we can charge $200 yearly per farm, which gives us $1.5 million of annual recurring revenue if we can capture the market just in Canada, never mind expanding to the United States and Australia. So currently, that's our SAM, and looking smaller, we expect that we can capture $200,000 of market value in our first year because 15% of the sheep farmers in Canada are very small farmers that have started in the last 3 or so years. And looking bigger, if we expand more, we'll get to $6 billion of global data management market. Based on our timeline, we learned about the problem in January, and we interviewed 5 sheep farmers in February, discovering that every single one of them listed as one of their 2 major problems, being the herd management data. And so we're going heavily into rapid prototyping right now to provide a solution for these farmers, 5 out of 5 of which would like to pilot. This is our team, 4 computer science students who are highly qualified with professional experience in every area of this app development, and we have supports of these 3 social groups at Waterloo with advisors to make this a reality. We're not creatives, we're problem solvers, so join us in bringing small farmers the tool they've always needed. Thank you.
For software developers, do any of you own sheep?
My sister is starting a sheep farm in Victoria, BC.
Okay. Cool, you've got a pilot customer right there. So usually I hate the nested circle diagram because everybody has it and it means nothing. But you did something in it that I've never seen before. You said, let's go smaller. And that caught my attention. That was pretty cool. I just want to give you kudos for that. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, he's talking about what he's going to do this year. Great. The thing that's standing out to me, though, is if they're using paper, okay, they are inheriting these from older generations and things like that. Okay, fine, right? But if they're not using if they're not even using Excel, why are they going to use your app?
So the one farmer that wasn't using pencil and paper, he is actually using Excel. He's using his Notes app and Excel. And the reason that provides him a solution is that he can export his sheep data and provide it to the regulators. So I mentioned that some of our competitors are only regulation focused. We can provide that regulation on top of the data management that we're providing right now, because the main problem is sifting through their pieces of paper for such as what type of medication they need to give to which sheep each day.
Cap.
Sorry, I think I missed your question.
No. So what I'm taking from that is it's not just about having the data, it's about having it somewhere that makes it easier to get to other people as well.
Yes, we have a notification system.
Yeah. Well, and to deliver to the regulators, like you said.
Yes.
And probably also collecting the data. So like vet data could probably automatically get ported into your system if it's in an app, not in Excel.
Yes, and there's two other major things that you can see on this slide, which is that we are in a problem space that is really close to a few other really major ones. So genomics is another problem, which is lots of these sheep farmers don't understand the genetics of their sheep. Additionally, husbandry is a major problem. One of our sheep farmers lost 50% more lambs one year because she overfed her sheep during the winter and didn't realize that having overweight sheep during lambing is very dangerous for the lambs. So we could provide a platform where farmers can share that data, and that is part of our next steps.
Cool. And then presumably you'll go to other animals as well and expand and expand and.
Yes. So we are totally planning to go to different livestock.
This was very good presentation. The communication was well done and the slides. So I had this question, so you answered that you're going to go through other animals because I know goats can be a good market. Talk about a little bit of this regulatory genomics. Other vet has access to their app. Like how you get all of this information that comes to your app.
How we get the regulation information from the government?
Yeah, if someone tests a ship for any genomics, or how does all of the stakeholders have access to your app?
So the main stakeholder here is the farms themselves. There's regulation agencies that control sheep farming in Canada. Interestingly, sheep farming in Canada is the latest regulated industry in Canada. Only about 35 years ago did they become regulated. Mm-hmm. So essentially, we hope to integrate through exporting to regulators like Genomics, Genovis, and a few other regulators in Canada to directly give all of the data to the government.
Okay, generate reports directly to them.
Generate reports, yes, exactly. That's what some of our competitors are already doing.
All right, very good.
Look at other models like healthcare and that type of thing of these archaic models and see kind of where you can pull some ideas out of that, because I think you're definitely onto something. You're in a really unique space. Just, I would say, look at some of the models that are already out there too and just keep building off of it.
Thanks. Yeah, we actually have a connection in the old folks home community where they have a similar thing for each person there. So we're taking a look at how they're doing it.
This next team is helping children and young adults process feelings of grief and mourning in a healthy way through their interactive experience called The Journey. Please welcome Rishabh Sharma, a computer science student from the Faculty of Math.
So before I start, I want to talk a bit about my personal experience and how I started with this journey. So when I was in 4th grade, my grandma passed away. And for anyone in the room who has someone who passed away, whose parents passed away when they were young, or grandparents, they know it was a pretty stressful experience. It was a weird experience for me too. So I was kind of confused. I had no one to talk to. My parents recently lost a mother. My friends didn't know any better. And it was an anxious and very, very, very scary time. So that's why I came up with a journey. It's an interactive experience that allows children and young adults to process feelings of grief in a healthier way. Emphasis on healthier way. And I'm going to give some stats that back this up and why this matters. So general feelings of sadness and hopelessness increased by 40% in young people in the past 10 years leading up to the pandemic, 2009, 2020, 2019. And in just 1 year, over 203,000 of our children under 18 will experience the death of someone in their extended family, and 40,000 of them will have the death of a parent or a sibling in this next year. And 80% of the children will say that losing a loved one was the hardest thing they ever had to face, and it took 6 years for them to overcome this fear, over the situation. And 57% of these children say that support from family or friends was waned in the 3 months of their loved one passing. That's why I want to fix this with the journey. How? I want you to meet Milo. Right now, Milo is just a name, but in the final app, it's going to have an actual face and characteristics and everything to it too. So it's a web-based game that takes our child through the series of tales from Milo and his friends to help navigate through complex emotions. And child is then given star points how to process these emotions in a healthy way, prioritizing communication with their loved ones. And I'm curating the story with expert advice from child mental health specialists from palliative care centers like Hospice Vaughan. The serviceable addressable market right now is around 142 palliative care centers all across Canada. I'm going to charge them around $100 a month, depending on the size of the care center. So that brings me to a bit above $170,000 a year if I'm able to hit all care centers. And right now I'm working with the Vaughan Hospice Center to allow us to iteratively prototype the model over the service over the next couple of months. They'll give us some valuable experience on how to actually make this product the best possible. And the current competitors in the market, there's a lot of personalized bereavement and support groups out there, and some videos and online storybooks that exist to help children process bereavement better. However, these personalized support groups are mostly catered towards adults, and they're in person, which isn't ideal for children. And these online videos are static and not interactive, and they don't change according to the kid itself. So we are also in the technology age, and the gamification of anything, including these context topics, will allow children to feel more comfortable while learning. Having something to look back on at any time is also invaluable. So the roadmap is that we start in February, and we're going to create the story with the experts. We're going to build the game in Unity, React, and host it on the web, and then we're going to iteratively prototype it through different healthcare centers around Ontario. And then from there, I want to grow it into a bigger audience of just general children's mental health issues for schools all over Ontario. And the team, just me and maybe 2 other developers, plus the specialists at the healthcare center. And with the $5,000, I'll build the journey and host it on the web and hopefully prototype it for kids to use. Thank you.
I had a little bit of hard time hearing you.
Yeah, sorry.
Can you articulate the problem, what the problem, and if you talked to parents and or maybe interviewing children, what is the main, like your problem statement?
Yeah, so for like when someone passes away, especially in these palliative care centers, is that there's not much of a support system already there for the children. There's a lot for the adults who are, maybe directly related to the grandparents, but for the children, they're kind of not pushed aside, but they're not given as much support. I've seen the stat in the right over here. Over here. And this creates a system where the kids feel kind of like confused and left out in the whole process. So I want to make a personalized experience where they're given kind of like a friend, and they can always refer back to this one kind of service, and it'll help them kind of through the process and help them grow into a healthier person from this negative experience and maybe communicate with their loved ones in a better way.
And what is the solution? A gamification app?
So it's pretty much like, how there's like the 5 stages of grieving? I'm working with specialists right now, and we're kind of creating a thing where this person, Milo, has an interactive story. So depending on what the children inputs, the actual game would change itself. And then hopefully the whole point is that through the end of the game, they learn more about themselves, how they're feeling. They have prompts of how to share it with their parents, and also it's easily shareable. So their parents and whoever's their guardians are easily in touch with whatever they're doing, and it's just overall to increase communication within the kid and their family.
And what is the age group that you're working with?
Usually children, but it could be
children of
young
what
adults.
age?
Yeah, so maybe kids from maybe 5 years of age to 15, whoever feels like they need the app.
It's a very wide range for the
Yeah,
support that they need.
Yeah,
Like
it
how
depends
much
how-
your software can, like your games will change. What is the content? Like who are behind the content creation? Do you have therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists?
Yeah, it's all mental health specialists mostly for children. For the Vaughan Hospice, they have a grievance specialist, so they're going to talk to me about what the best way to create this application is, how to talk to children in the most effective way possible, and how to hit these hard-hitting topics in a more easier way.
Why are you working on this?
Why?
Yeah.
Because my grandfather passed away last year, and in the Vaughan Hospice, the same exact palliative care center, saw a lot of kids. And this one kid, he was crying a little bit, and his parents tried to comfort him and all that stuff, but he just said that no one really got why he was feeling the way he was feeling.
Got it. Two things, kind of related questions. How do you make money? And the second thing is, this requires, your product is an app on the child's device, right? How are you, like the child is not downloading this app, they don't know that they need this. So how are you making money, and how are you making sure that your app ends up on their device?
So money isn't we're gonna only make money by charging the care centers themselves. Maybe it's gonna depend on the size of the care center. Like the hospice I'm dealing with, it's pretty big, so maybe like $100 a month. It's not a lot of money, but if I hit enough care centers around Ontario, it'll lead to enough money so we can actually make money and grow and do other things like scale to schools or whatnot. It'll be, so the way it works is that they have resources for children. And we'll have
Okay, you're getting it from the care center.
Yeah.
They'll pay you. They'll also work with the family to get the app downloaded.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. We're out of time, but one thing I want to let everybody know, I'm not being pedantic about the mic thing because it's like, oh, it's just, that's Alroy's thing. It's because right now, you're pitching for $5,000, right? But you're all going to go and do amazing things and be pitching for $50,000 and $500,000. And you need to make a good impression, and being heard is part of that. So one key thing to note is that, especially these mics, are unidirectional, which means talking like this, you can't hear me. But talking like this, you hear me, okay? Keep it like an inch and a half away from your mouth. And not like this, but like this. Fantastic.
Got it.
All right, now we're moving on to our last team of the night. I would like to introduce Vanguard, a stenosis and thrombosis monitoring device for hemodialysis patients. Pitching for Vanguard is Logan Bonsall, a biomedical engineering student from the Faculty of Engineering.
Hi everyone, I'm Logan, the co-founder of Vanguard. I want to start by putting you in the shoes of a hemodialysis patient. This is Albert. He's 65 years old, and my team and I met him while volunteering at Grand River. He comes into the hospital around twice a week for his hemodialysis treatment because he is suffering from kidney failure. Unfortunately, Albert isn't alone. There are over 3 million people across the world on hemodialysis. When it comes to hemodialysis, patients are at risk for several complications, including blood clots as well as vessel thinning. These complications can be extremely time sensitive. For instance, if a blood clot isn't detected within 24 hours, it can lead to invasive surgery, amputation, and even death. Currently, the only way to accurately measure blood flow and help detect some of these complications is through ultrasound. So if a patient, let's say, has a blood clot and it's not detected early enough, it can cost them up to $20,000 in order to get that clot removed. That is where Vanguard comes in. We are the first passive, non-invasive blood flow monitoring device for hemodialysis patients. We accurately measure blood flow through audio signal processing in order to help detect some of these hemodialysis complications. We're able to notify the physician right away if we see a change in blood flow, therefore helping save patients from these extensive surgical procedures. With Vanguard, we can help hospitals and insurance companies save $6 billion. We can save 1.4 million hours of valuable time for physicians, and most importantly, we can save 500,000 lives. And this is all within just North America. We will sell directly to hospitals, saving both time and money for physicians. In the last few months, our team has spoken to several specialists in the field, including our advisors, Dr. Connor Judge, a nephrologist from Ireland, as well as James Bellamy, the Director of Renal Health in Ontario. We've also spoken to several CEOs and CTOs of medical device companies who have all given us positive notes about our product. We are the perfect team to build Vanguard because of our deep experience as biomedical engineers, as well as numerous work experiences in the healthcare space, including Sick Kids, Dialogue Health, and Sonova. With 5K, we can take Vanguard to a high-fidelity stage with quality hardware, where we can help build some of those partnerships with Grand River, as well as companies such as Flowsonics, who are all currently interested in working with us. So, join me in my journey to save lives one vein at a time. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Aiden, co-founder of Vanguard. I'm here to answer your questions.
Oh, I don't even have a question, but you guys are just handing it over to me. Nice to see you guys again.
Yeah, thanks.
Good to see the progress. Yeah, I don't have a question. Shoot.
I can ask. I really appreciate the problem part, that what work you've done on the problem and talking to physicians and getting them on board. It's a very good job. Yeah, maybe tell me how many hospitals you're talking to and what is your regulatory path for to
So I'll
getting this to
address-
the hospital. Yeah.
Sorry?
To get your device to the hospital, what is the regulatory path?
Sure. So I'll address the regulations first off. So given that we are a non-invasive passive monitoring device, we do still have to reach thresholds of accuracy, and as such will probably be a Class 2 regulatory device under Health Canada and the FDA. We plan on going through the 510K pathway to compare our device to an existing device in the market. This will allow us to get to market faster with an estimated 6-month time frame to go through Health Canada and the FDA. Currently, we've been working with very closely with Grand River and some affiliates at Sick Kids Hospital. What we're really trying to do at this stage is to gain clinical experience or perform clinical testing on patients on hemodialysis.
Perfect. Let's talk about the solution, the product. What stage is it at, and who you are getting the advisory to see this is the right solution or technology to detect a blood clot?
So we've been working very closely with Grand River Hospital, mostly the bodily access coordinators. They've been validating our problem space and working closely with us to make sure that we're on the right track. We recently went through a big pivot. Beforehand, we were trying to identify stenosis and thrombosis using PPG, which is a light sensing technology. Now we've moved on to a acoustic technology, measuring pulse above and below the fistula site. The reason for this is because currently clinicians do measurements of blood flow using a stethoscope, which is an auditory measurement. However, they're doing this qualitatively, not quantitatively. We want to use the same technology, but apply it to a quantitative metric. That way we can track patient progress over time.
Okay. And you said that you recently made this pivot. What is your prototype look like now?
Sorry?
How's your prototype? Does it work now? Can you
Yeah,
make measurements?
we have been testing on patients, or not on patients, sorry, on ourselves, so on human participants. We haven't been able to test on patients because we haven't reached REB, and that's what we're really trying to accomplish right now. We have validated the prototype on compression and full-on obstruction of arteries in our wrists, so our group mates.
Okay. Excellent, thank you.
Yep.
If you're class 2, just make sure you are starting your quality process now, or you're
Okay.
going to screw yourself.
Yeah.
I know from experience, so just a little tidbit to you both. Start the QMS process now, or you will shoot yourself in the foot
It's
later.
documenting everything.
Exactly, and following a process, or else you won't get through REB in those groups.
Yep.
If you need help, let me know.
Okay, thank you.
So you're strapping a diaphragm onto somebody's wrist and you're getting a signal from that?
Diaphragm, sorry?
How are you collecting the signal?
Yeah, so those, as you can see in the prototype there, those two small metal discs are contact microphones. They work on a very low frequency spectrum, and so they're able, lower than 10 hertz, and so they're able to identify pulses within the wrist.
And that's working.
Yeah.
You're getting good signal from it.
Yeah, we're getting a signal above and below the fistula site. What we hope is that in patients with fistulas, the artery or the vein, the connection, is much closer to the skin, and so we're hoping that that will also allow us to perform better signal acquisition compared to a normal person without a dialysis or without a fistula.
So I'm just impressed that you can actually get a signal from that. That's cool.
Yep.
You mentioned something like doctors use stethoscopes in order to hear the heartbeat, right? But it's purely qualitative. It's not quantitative, right? Why has nobody made? And this has less to do with your actual business, but like, I think there's something interesting here. Why has nobody created like a digital stethoscope where it can show you the actual waveform of the heartbeat and count beats and all that?
Digital stethoscopes actually do exist. They're not as common as normal stethoscopes. A lot of doctors prefer using them.
Yeah.
But they're
probably way more expensive too.
Yeah, they're very expensive. But they use the same kind of, not the same technology, but they do use contact microphones that operate on a low frequency spectrum.
Okay, similar.
Going a little bit further on that question, one of the benefits that our product brings is that there is a stage after a patient gets an AV fistula in their arm. That's the maturation stage. It usually lasts around 8 months. The only way to measure flow currently and accurately, quantitatively, is by injecting or connecting the hemodialysis machine to the patient. This is invasive, and it prevents healing of that site. So one of the main benefits of our product is that we'll be able to passively monitor flow numerically during the maturation of that fistula, preventing doctors from having to go in and mess with it while it's still healing.
Okay, and then the plan is to expand into like other things apart from just the fistula site? Because the similar technology could be used to detect blood clots in other places as well, right?
It could, and this technology has been used to identify blood clots in the lower leg. The PPG technology has been used to identify in the lower leg. We're really focusing on hemodialysis for now because it is a very big market. Our plan to go to market is to address clinics in the States, privatized clinics, because 2 companies in particular have a 70% market share of clinics in the US. We're hoping to gain strategic partnerships with them and then sell directly to those clinics. Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right, so that wraps up all of our pitches for tonight. I want to thank everyone for coming out. Thank you to our teams, the audience, and our judges for taking the time to be with us today. We hope to see you all back here for the final 12 teams tomorrow night and at the finals on Thursday, April 4th at the Theater of Arts. You can register for either event at the link on the screen. Thank you and have a great night.